lobby too. Blaze was like, so what do you guys actually play in these positions? You know, top and mid. We've never really seen you in those positions, and the players, you know, Black Sword wasn't really giving them any real answers. They were just joking around, but we'll see as we go into the bans and picks. Mukuza there for NaJin team, of course, as their coach. We have the CJ coaches in their booth. And as usual, some target bans for that top lane against Blaze.
I think you really have to be worried about Flame, so you want to probably pick up the Renekton if possible and just try and bully that matchup early so you don't fall too far behind against Flame. Take out the Jax and Shyvana as well. Lulu, the final ban. Of course, Ambition and Lustboy both liking that champion. Twitch taken out against OQ. Again, this guy was mostly playing a lot of long-range AD carries. He and his lane partner on Zenix Storm really like to play Caitlyn Zyra and do some very aggressive zoning in the laning phase, which did leave them vulnerable to ganks to a certain degree. NaJin, for those of you who don't know, is a brand new player fresh out of solo queue. He's considered the top kind of solo queue jungle talent in Korea, but we'll have to keep an eye on him because out of all positions you can play, jungle is the most different from solo queue because you have to controlling the pace and tempo of particularly the early game as a jungler in a competitive environment is a very different experience when you have highly coordinated teamwork than it is in solo queue. So it'll be interesting to see how he develops, but he's got a few games to do it here in the playoffs. Pretty high pressure situation for a new player though.
And Soraka first pick for Sword. So that leaves a couple options here. Lee Sin being highlighted over Kha'Zix right now for Daydream. It wouldn't be so bad.
It may just be a takeaway pick from NaJin here, and I don't think they're going to pick that Zed against a Soraka. Soraka, we don't know if it's going mid or top. There has been a higher prevalence of Soraka top, and in particular, Black Sword, back when Limit was playing on the team, did like to play Soraka top. So that may be something the coaches are going to hold on to right here.
Pure is also a support player originally, so wouldn't be surprising at all. And then, of course, with Lee Sin taken away, Kha'Zix still open, of course. In fact, all the junglers are still open. We haven't seen any jungle bans this game.
Yeah, the thing about the jungle right now is it's all pretty equal between Lee Sin, Kha'Zix, Elise, and Evelynn. So unless you're going to mass jungle bans, it doesn't really make sense to ban junglers at all because you're going to get something there's not really a super powerful single pick at the moment.
Right on, and that has left LeBlanc open throughout all these picks for Ambition to pick up comfortably. They thought about first picking that one on Blaze, and they left it until later. And Draven being highlighted, of course, some of the fans reacted to that one. You know what happens when Emperor picks that champion up.
And of course, Emperor just having that sensational Draven game, hitting a GPM of 560 against Samsung Ozone. He was getting 14 kills or something like that in that game. It was a totally ridiculous performance, but he's going to switch it up, go for the Kog'Maw instead. Kog'Maw Nami, a lane that Samsung Blue likes to run a lot. This is really powerful in terms of just long-range poke in the early game, but likely what we're going to see is Blaze doing a lane swap right here with it, since they are on red side, taking it up into the top lane. And I honestly think this is the best thing for Blaze to do, because if you are not used to playing the top lane in a competitive setting, the lane swap is really going to throw Pure off, because lane swaps at the moment are so complex in terms of how you have to play them as a top laner and jungler. And also NaJin, a new jungler as well, probably not used to the lane swaps as much yet. I think it really plays to the weakness of NaJin Black Sword's new roster to lane swap against them.
All right, and then look at the last picks. Jace possibly for that, either mid or top again with that Soraka. We'll see where they each go. But then Sona, Kayn, used to be very famous for his Sona, and we still see it now and then, picked up by this guy, and he will lock it in. So Sona Lucian for that duo lane. And what will we see for the last pick from Blaze? It will be a pickup for Flame. Smart looking at his camera right now.
I think the Kog'Maw, it's a bit interesting here. See what they actually end up running in top. The CJ teams, Frost has been very interesting recently in terms of their picks. Of course, in the NLB finals, they ran that Runen's Kale, which we can talk about later if Coco picks it up, but it's really strong.
And a Victor highlight we haven't even seen Victor highlighted in a long time. Rise top seems quite fine for Blaze.
It's going to be really hard to play a Rise into a Jace, though. So they have to be a little bit cautious about that, although they don't really know where these picks are going yet. I would assume that Pure is going to play Jace just for a little bit easier time CSing and an easier laning phase, and that'll be Mundo for Flame.
You know, with that Nasus highlight, it really makes me wonder why Nasus isn't one of the most played champions by Flame. It really seems to fit his needs of just sitting in lane until 40 minutes and coming out as a hard carry. But I guess it's not quite his style.
Oh, we may see a little bit of Nasus coming back, especially it's possible that we'll see it start coming back as a Jax counter pick, depending. Just because, of course, he does both Malphite and Nasus both really do bad things to Jax in the mid and late game. So that may be a possibility, but and also he can jungle relatively well in a 2v1. So in a lane swap position, it's not so bad. But it looks like Guger will be playing the Jace in the mid lane, so Pure with the Soraka top, sticking to his support roots. Maybe a little bit interesting to get this going, however. They've got some really good poke and siege right here with Jace, Lucian, Sona, and Soraka, so we'll have to see how they play this one out. Also, they've got some good kite ability if Evelynn can use the secondary engage from the flank while they're kiting. Blaze, on the other hand, pretty standard stuff. They'll probably be looking for Ambition to take advantage of a lane swap in order to just outplay his opponent in the mid lane as a standard mid laner. Blaze definitely should be looking for a lane swap in this situation. I think that will give them the largest advantage.
Sounds fantastic as we go into set number 1 between CJ Entus and NaJin EM Fire here in the playoffs. It's gonna be the first round of playoffs for Masters 2014. This week, CJ and NaJin, it's their first day, kicking it off with Blaze and Blacksword. Again, we talked about Blacksword's roster, so we're seeing those two subs in non-original positions. We'll see how they face off against Flame and Ambition, respectively, as we jump into the first game right now. And also in terms of blue and purple side, because these two teams were tied in points, it was just a coin toss. And so the first day, so all games today, NaJin will have blue side, and all games on Thursday, CJ will have blue side. That is how it was decided.
Yeah, Lustboy coming in here with a full ward start, so definitely going to look for that lane swap situation. Early ward down at their own red buff, seeing if there's going to be a delayed invade. Coming in there, Daydream throwing Q into the brush. And there's Flame checking it with a cleaver. Let's see what they do with the rest of these wards right now. They will 5-man straight around the red buff, and they're probably going to try and get a ward deep into the lane right here between the tier 2 and inhibitor turrets. And indeed, oh, nope, just a pink ward there.
And no, yeah, there we go. Lustboy still going down to talk about that, or place that ward you talked about, rather. And Ambition just scouting out to make sure people don't go in and get their own wards from NaJin. Of course, they do have that first ward we talked about in case Ambition misses a sneaky little invade. But we're not going to see that, and we see the duo warding back.
And NaJin is going to call them on this, so they are, looks like, going to send their duo lane up top. We'll see if NaJin will swap away. They did see Soraka going to lane, so now they immediately change course and head back into bottom lane. So the lane swap will be completed here for CJ Blaze successfully based on the strength of some early warding.
Yep. And Flame, of course, has that teleport, so he's still going to stick around at this enemy red, and they have their own ward at their red. So Daydream will have some good idea of how that jungling is going to work out against Hojin here.
Yeah, Pure, maybe not the best choice to go into the lane like that. They should have known that there was a strong possibility of that ward being there. And now we do have the blue side in the top lane, not something we typically see. There is some legs for you.
In a box. Yep. But I think the point there is that the weather's very nice these days. So
it is.
It is indeed. And Hojin is going to go ahead and take the CJ red, and CJ will see that, so they're just going to trade buffs. But, you know, in terms of that warding, at the same time, Pure didn't really seem to have too many options, of course, because they got 3 wards in the enemy jungle. So props to CJ, as we mentioned, that ward start. paying off.
And now just some follow jungling from... I mean, this is going to put Flame in a better position. Of course, Pure is doing absolutely nothing right now. He's just being zoned off the minion wave. There's no way he can get close, waiting for the piled wave. So we'll see. He may get, if he sticks around, they're probably going to 4-man dive him. So he needs to be pretty careful right now as this wave hits the turret. We'll see what Daydream and Flame decide to do. There's Ambition. HoJin coming into the mid lane.
Whoa, HoJin flashes forward and takes Ambition's flash out in return. So just trying to pressure him in a very aggressive manner. And we are seeing both Flame and Daydream come down into this bottom lane. Are we going to see that dive? Flame only level 2, but of course, that's 4 members. Daydream at level 3.
That's a cute little jump over there over the wall. They're just waiting to delay this as long as possible. Emperor and Lustboy, they're delaying this wave a lot. They're not pushing at the same time. We saw the push onto the 3rd wave in the top lane, but oh my.
Uh-oh, Pure gets tunneled into this tower. There we go. We take the first hit from Lee Sin, jumps in, and it goes to Emperor. So that's a perfect first blood for CJ. Everything went the way they wanted to. Got the kill onto Kog'Maw, got assists for everyone.
At this point, Pure is never getting back in this game, Chobra. This is a disaster, and this is why the lane swaps are so bad if you're not experienced as a top laner, because being there was doing absolutely nothing for him, and they really didn't play the level 1 very well. They're going to try and jump onto Flame, but he's going to be able to make it out.
He should be. Yeah, he has his flash, and he actually takes Kane's flash out in return while Daydream went for a gank in mid and just picking on these subs. And that, that is what you do, though. You find the people who are inexperienced and you just take them out of the game early. So props to Daydream for identifying that as Lustboy comes up to help Flame here.
Right, and we're going to see Daydream come up here as well in just a second after clearing out that red. So let's take a look at what happened in the mid lane. Ambition, Cougar, oh man, he jumped on top of him trying to trade. And Daydream able to pick that one up with a pretty easy flash.
Yep.
So anyway, what we're going to see now, CJ Blaze, they're just allowing this Kog'Maw to free farm by himself. As you can see, he's zoning out the Soraka. Soraka's still level 1. Flame level 3. This is a disaster.
Yeah. Even if you're on equal levels with Flame, it's like not such good news. You usually want to be like 2 levels ahead of him.
Soraka's at least getting some experience from this wave, however. Kog'Maw not able to do as much by himself, but they need to solve this situation. You see Nami and Lee Sin moving through the Blaze jungle right now, coming around for another gank onto Cougar. This is brutal exploitation of subs.
It is, but that's the cold hard truth. If this is what happens to your roster, then the enemy team should take advantage of it. Now HoJin actually manages to sneak by. Yeah. Emperor is stuck all the way on the other side of the wall.
Time for another dive, though.
So Emperor going to take some damage here, but we're going to see Lustboy on the way, so Emperor just going to turn around and put a ton of damage onto Pure with that long range. There's a heal coming in from Lustboy, and Daydream's here. As you mentioned, Monty, another dive in the works. Lustboy gets spotted by the ward, but Daydream's still unseen. So Lustboy's just going to walk back, not give a clue that Daydream's there. HoJin. Oh, Daydream's just going to jump on him right away. Level 4 to level 4, but that's going to keep Pure locked in once again. Daydream deciding to just let him go as Cougar gets caught by Ambition, gets snared down by the chains. One last auto attack for another kill in the mid lane.
Well, they know exactly where HoJin is, so Ambition is just free to go all in right there. And with Cougar not having combat stats yet, he's still sitting on that tier. Now, they did lose the top tower, but Blaze is going to be fine with this because they are probably just going to push the wave into the turret, deny as much as they can, and then start freezing next to their own turret with Kog'Maw.
Man, and pressure onto the new guy too, HoJin. Just getting pressure, not able to go back home.
Yeah, you can see Emperor is just face tanking the minion wave so that they can push it as fast as possible back the other direction. But they do see Kane there instead of Pure, so they are going to have to back off. And but the wave still going to be pushing towards their tower, and they need to recall anyway. It's been quite a while. Kog'Maw has a kill and an assist, and a little bit of a farm advantage, so needs to spend that money, especially since OQ already came into lane with a BF sword.
Yeah, Emperor was surprised to find an experienced player in his lane. It was a bit shocking.
Yeah, can't have that. So, yeah, it's coming into the lane here again. Do see the Cutlass completed, and they're not going to see any more lane swaps now. How hard is Flame going to be willing to go? They could dive Pure again if Flame hits 6 first.
Yes.
You can also see Flame is just going for raw stats right now. He's got 2 health crystals. He's trying to maximize his early game advantage so he can push it as hard as he can. Doesn't need to complete an item, just wants to go for as much HP as possible. It'll power up his ultimate as well.
Yeah, it looks like that's the plan right now. Cleared out a ward so Daedream can sneak in, and we'll see Flame just waiting.
He's getting really close to 6. He should hit 6 off this wave.
Yep.
He's just waiting to pull Pure out a little bit more. We'll see if Pure takes the bait or not.
I mean, this is pretty telegraphed from Flame.
One creep.
But Pure is biting it somewhat. He's like half biting and half not. There we go, level 6. There are some minions though. Flame's still not going all in just yet. Doesn't want to give an idea. In fact, just going to keep up his act so he can pull Pure in even further. Pure in clear line of sight for a cleaver start, and there we go. Gets hit, slowed down. Daedream comes in, flashes up. Already used heal. Flash also down. Pure just going to get tanked under this tower as he goes down to Flame. Daedream getting out after tanking the tower all on his own.
Well, this game is really predictable.
It's you know, I feel bad. I feel bad for Pure and Cougar. They didn't ask for this. I'm sure they didn't ask for this, but props to Blaze though. As brutal as it is, this is what you got to do. If there's a, you know, even if you think you can win otherwise, if there's an advantage you can take, then why not take it? And right now it's the roster.
Yep. So you really see how green these players are in terms of the lane swap as well. Not only the substitute players that have been thrust into this position, but also NaJin, who isn't really in the right place at the right time this game to stop these ganks, and that's just something that's going to come with a lot more experience.
Yes, yeah, you just got to kind of build that into muscle memory more like, and Flame has returned to lane, or has rather stayed in lane after being chased away by NaJin without using any of his summoners.
So Flame is just going to freeze this lane forever now, and Pure is never really going to get CS unless he takes over the mid lane, which he's doing right now. We'll see where Cougar is going to go. Okay, this is actually smart, I think, by NaJin's Sword, is to send Jace into the lane with the AD carry and support, and try and send your dual lane to go a little deeper into top to break the freeze. That's about all you can do right now, as long as they push back. But it looks like Cougar, they're going to go for a really hard press onto this turret. Lustboy isn't 6 yet, so he doesn't have that disengage at this stage. And
yep, Cougar just going to show himself. OGN, of course, was stealth, so not seen in the lane just yet, but trying to poke Emperor out. That's already 3
really
members.
careful. Soraka is 6. They can dive.
Yeah, so Oki just going to chase them out, in fact, with the culling, not looking for a kill, but Ambition is here with a blue buff. He's level 9, has both the summoners. Kane got caught already, gets knocked up by the tidal wave. 2 more members getting knocked up by Lustboy as Ambition jumps in. A nice crescendo onto LeBlanc. Ambition has to back out. Emperor also low on both health and mana. Ambition using his clone to just take one shot as Pure walks down for some assistance. Has already used that ultimate, but Daedream is also here.
Yeah, and Flame using that teleport advantage. He is going to miss out on a lot of CS up in the top lane, though. Somebody's already pinging that turret up there. Somebody's got to go back and pick that up and make sure that the freeze is maintained if they want to press their advantage. But for the meantime, just defending that turret. And it looks like they're going to give it up. You know, I don't know if that was the smartest teleport from Blaze. I think they could have just let that tower fall and just continued to farm Flame. It's much more of a CJ Blaze style. What? Reacting to turret pressure? What is this?
Yeah, they seem to have gotten a little bit caught off guard, and maybe perhaps hoping that they could turn it into kills, because they are doing well in kills. You know, 4-0, trying to extend that lead perhaps as Lustboy just scouts out this dragon, but NaJin is going to take it, so that's going to give NaJin some breathing room. Catches back up to a 500 gap. Still in favor of CJ and Blaze, as Ambition and Lustboy should be able to take this tier 1 in mid to gain their advantage again.
Yeah, it was a good play from NaJin's Sword to go in and try and take that. Of course, Kane gets hit by the bubble and then the follow-up right there, but you can see Ambition going in, trying to burst him down, gets his W, but a good crescendo will stall him out right there. He barely gets out. Summoner heal used in order to keep him alive. And Flame just trying to tank as much as he can into the front lines. But they're not able to follow up. Pure manages to rotate down into the bottom lane in time.
Yeah, and Flame, you know, teleporting onto the tower also to keep that cooldown, but that put him way far behind in the fight. Had to use Flash, in fact, to catch up. So now Flash is down.
Yeah, they should have just let that tower go, especially because Daydream couldn't be there at the right time, too. He was a little bit delayed. They reacted a bit too hastily. Flame could have just slow pushed the wave back out and created more of a threat later. And with the composition that we see from CJ, they've got great scaling into the late game, so there's not really a reason why you have to go for a tower now, but Pure is going to get dove.
Yeah, Flame went in for the dive and actually tanks just the right amount to survive and then heal back up with his sadism. And they go for the 3-man dive kill onto Pure. Didn't have his ultimate back up yet.
How do you heal from sadism? Have you ever thought about that?
Huh. You know? Good point. Not quite sure how that works out. But we are seeing NaJin with a 4-man push, trying to just take advantage and react to CJ's movements. And they have been, you know, taking their objectives each time. So that's good news for Black Sword. Now they take another tier 1. So they've taken all 3 tier 1s, leading in towers, in fact, to stay in the game.
Well, they've got a great siege composition, and they are doing a good job of at least taking down 3 outer towers. They're following their win conditions with this composition at the very least. But the siege comp, you know, they may have some issues later on, particularly against the Nami ult. That's going to be quite difficult for them to deal with, especially if Flame can get a good teleport opportunity to run into their flank right after that Nami ultimate has been used. Ambition poking up a little bit here. He'll get some damage down onto the tier 2. Daydream getting out of the jungle after taking a couple of wolf camps, and Flame just continuing to farm up. He's still at double CS here in the top lane, 2-0-1 as well, becoming very scary.
Yeah, so Flame just keeping up, has that Visage. See what he goes for next.
Well, yeah, the fact that he finished the Visage means that he's planning on split pushing against the Eve and Soraka for quite some time. He's really not going to be terribly survive-oriented against Jason Lucian. So he needs to stick it out until he can get a Sunfire Cape.
Daydream trying to steal those double golems, but Hojin's going to take it out with Smite. Daydream has to get out. OQ putting out some good damage with his Bloodthirster, but Emperor also has that Blade of the Ruined King finished. Hojin is here for a gank. It will be a 2v2 until Kane shows up 3v2, and also we have Guger on the way, and Hojin's actually just going to start the fight. He's taking a lot of damage from Emperor. Needs to watch out. OQ gets bubbled, and then Tidal Wave with the teleport coming in. Kane gets caught right in the middle, tries to crescendo and survive. Actually is going to get out with the flash and the ultimate coming in from Soraka, and NaJin Blacksword will try to turn things around, but Ambition jumps in, gets 1 kill, and blinks all the way back with a massive banana following him. And OQ just going to flash forward, but it's the clone. And so Emperor gets taken out, but Kane in a revenge kill from Ambition.
Yeah, NaJin Sword is doing a surprisingly good job of reacting to some of this aggression from CJ Blaze and pushing objectives, but they're not really able to get much there. Flame does use his teleport one more time, and they just trade kills 1 for 1. Let's check that out again. So Emperor kind of gets engaged on here by Hojin, uses his blade onto Evelyn nearly immediately. There's the tidal wave coming in. It was a good port right onto Kane, but had ultimate from Soraka, and Pure again in the right place at the right time, just a little bit faster. Ambition and Daydream late to the game again, really coming in here. That is a very large banana.
Yeah, that was a very big banana. But Emperor also flashing forward to pick up that kill, but gets blocked by Guger.
Is that a Lust Boy hat?
Is that a Lust Boy? It is a Lust Boy hat.
Wearing a Lust Boy hat.
Yep.
That's awesome.
That is pretty awesome. Ambition jumping forward to get some damage in, but takes a ton in return from OQ. Guger also gets poked down by Emperor, so these AD carries doing a lot of damage, and Guger also starting to put out some pain himself.
This is a really good time for NaJin Sword to engage while Lustboy's ultimate is still down, because there's not really a way that they're going to be able to catch them with the acceleration gate on the kite. So this is a perfect time in order to be sieging right here. And they're doing a good job of it. They're forcing Flame back down there away from the farm again, and this is not optimal due to Flame's current itemization. Ambition goes forward to get poked down, but is silenced nearly immediately by Pure.
Yeah, just really good reactions in, you know, macro and micro levels from NaJin is what we're seeing right now. And Flame, in fact, reacting very preemptively most of these times. Of course, right now they do have to defend that tower with that teleport down, as you mentioned, on top of the tidal wave. which was on cooldown just a few seconds ago. NaJin was trying to pressure that mid lane, and Daydream takes some poke from Kane, Cougar, and Hochin. So I think Blaze looking a little bit confused. Of course, they lost the huge lead they had, but they're still in the lead overall, but NaJin reacting very well. So CJ is going to have to think about how to, put NaJin a little bit off balance again, because they've gathered themselves for sure. Kane, actually, the one who just keeps getting caught a little bit from some CC, but it's okay. Always reacts perfectly with Crescendo, which is why he was a well-known supporter in the first place. Daydream and Emperor were sneaking in that Dragon as Ambition draws some attention.
Yeah, go ahead and take that one pretty easily as well. A lot of these fights are going to come down to silence wars between LeBlanc and Soraka, because if one of them can silence the other, it's really kind of a recipe for disaster. OQ, a little bit of poke from the Sigil there. Ambition, but he'll back off. Flame now heading back up into the top lane, and the wave's pushing outwards. Blaze really wants to pick up a lot of this CS. Emperor will be there to catch a really big wave on Cog.
Yep.
Put him in a good position. So Blaze needs to start turning their eyes to some of these outer turrets they haven't taken down yet. They have a lead just based on mostly the difference between not only kills, but the CS in Pure and Flame's case. And here we are at 20 minutes nearly, and still no Athenes. So very late for Pure. And he's also 2 levels down, so he's in a bit of trouble at the moment, and they need to keep it that way. You can see Lustboy here. He's waiting up in the top lane, just trying to see if they can collapse onto the turret. He's going to back out, though, sees OQ. Doesn't really want to be a part of that.
Nope. Yeah, OQ is hurting quite a bit. Looking to build up that phase next. Perhaps just needs a little bit more farm as Daydream shows up with Flame. So, CJ and Blaze right now doing what you talked about, Monty, trying to take care of some of these tier 1s as Emperor is still quietly freezing and farming. So Flame and Emperor kind of trading places right now.
This is a smart lane allocation, though, to put Lucian into the Mundo lane. You need to get him with one of those AD carries that you have on your team. Yep. And they're already grouping up again to go ahead and siege shows. Shot calling from NaJin. Yes, the early game was a bit rocky for them, but since then they've been doing a really good job of playing pressure on the map. Yeah,
I'd be very interested to see who is calling most of the shots. Of course, Kane, again, the most experienced on the team. He also used to be that shot caller for Black Sword, but with these new players, how is that working out? So far, so good. And Lustboy and Ambition prepared here. Ambition takes some poke. Lustboy also from Jason and Lucian. So they're going to have to heal up. A 5-man here, Daydream, trying to chase them away with a Sonic Wave. And Hochin will protect that ward, so they have vision on the side. Should be able to see if Flame also teleports into that side ward. So Flame now the one on bottom because they want to defend, has that teleport up. So you can keep 4 men at the tower.
Yeah, NaJin has done a great job of warding their flanks, though. If we look right here, they're very safe, and they're going to catch Ambition.
Gets caught by the Crescendo. There's the tidal wave to save him, though, and the heal from Ignite, but Daydream also almost dying. Daydream has gone in, taken Hochin out, and that's Flame coming in, but a second too late. Once again, giving up that farm in bottom, and he just has to back off. Flame has been just off-tempo all game today against NaJin Blacksword, and that's still 4 healthy members here for Sword trying to push in. But Emperor and Lustboy should be pretty good with this clear. They're trying to run away with the acceleration game. Flame chasing forward. He's full health. He's going to charge in, gets knocked back, uses sadism, but he's still taking a lot of damage. He doesn't have that armor item finished just yet. So OQ going to get slowed. He's out of mana, so Emperor now trying to take advantage of that, but takes a huge hit. Pure, he will not go down just yet with the second hit from the chain, but Emperor is going to flash forward to pick up 1 kill and then chase onto Kane, who's also out of mana. Ambition dives in, puts some good damage onto 2 members, and Blacksword just has to back off. Flame actually just walking through the tower, but Hochin's here. Flame needs to watch out. He does have flash up, but not his ultimate. Ambition also, yeah, don't want to get hit by those blasts.
They may be setting themselves up for a bit of a dive right here with Cougar and Kane going back. Hochin and OQ are in a rather precarious position at the moment. There's still 4 of them there from CJ Blaze. Goodbye, OQ.
Hochin just mercilessly dishing his teammate and leaving OQ to die. That was sad. That was just cold ditching right there. Oh man.
Unfortunately, OQ didn't have any mana.
Yeah.
So not really likely to survive that, so you might as well make it out with 1. But tower taken. And Blaze turned that around relatively well.
Yeah, Gugar and Kane trying to chase down Flame, but Sadis just came back up. They're still slowing him down, but they're not going to be able to chunk through all that healing. Oh, actually knocks him backwards from Gugar, and NaJin is wrapping around. They might be investing all of this, but can they pick the actual kill up? NaJin's going to go in, slow Flame down once again. Another cleaver in from Flame. NaJin just needs one more hit. Kane's going to pick it up. So Black Sword taking down that monstrous Mundo. But that just gives him an opportunity to go back home and buy a Chain Vest, so now he's more prepared to actually participate in fights.
Yeah, this will be a lot better for him moving forward. He's already 2-1-3 and nearly double the CS, as is the Flame way.
Whoa! All right. You know, there's a reason LeBlanc is the top 3rd most banned in Masters, or probably in any tournament these days.
Yeah, I like the Void Staff build here. With so little MR on the enemy team, it really is doing a lot of work as a second item. Doesn't need a lot of AP just for that straight up burst.
Yeah, and that's why we've seen Ambition just really taking advantage of those 2 items, Athene's with the cooldown and mana, plus the Void Staff, going in for poke first to chase people out, and then if he finds a target with his chains, he goes in for the kill.
Yeah, and of course he's really hunting down the Jace right now because there's not even Merc Treads on him, so he's really, really vulnerable. Not only that, but the Evelyn is also a good pickup, even though she does have Merc Treads. Of course, Eve won't start getting tanky until the late game, so you can take advantage of the fact that she does go for that Spirit of the Elder Lizard early.
Oh, and Kane gets 100-0'd.
Yeah, also that Sona. There are really just a lot of targets for Ambition right now, and this build is doing a lot of work.
Yep, and so Daydream, meanwhile, secures that Dragon for his team, while Black Sword is trying to just hold off some waves until Kane gets back. That crescendo has been very crucial to them turning things around anywhere on the map right now. Pure finally has that Athene's, but still very, very far behind. Doesn't have level 2 boots, doesn't have any other items. Is going back home, hopefully to finish boots. Yep,
oh my.
There we go. And wow, another 100-0. It's the Ambition show now. 6-0-2.
Oh, Joe, bro, I feel so bad.
I do. I mean, they were doing well, and then Ambition got items. And you can't really do anything at that point. Like you mentioned, I mean, you're a Pokemon, but Assassins are built to go in. Daydream tries to go in for a kick. OQ dashing right out just in time, but Ambition still goes in and picks up a different target on Evelyn. Emperor just dancing for Black Sword for a second there from Crescendo. And Blaze now 5-manning that inhibitor. Looks like they are going to back off though. They're just positioned to retreat. Of course, NaJin will come up in 15 seconds. There's still 4 members left. So Black Sword given a little bit of breathing room, but probably not going to last much longer as Blaze. What are they going to do next?
Well, they're going to push in the mid wave, and then they're going to get control over Baron.
Sounds reasonable.
Then they actually should go back right now. They have a lot of money. This is somewhat greedy, I think. They could go back, wait for the super minion waves in the bottom lane, and then just go ahead and get actual vision control over the Baron pit and do Baron. So this is a little bit hasty, and that was a... yeah.
Yep. So CJ, noticing it was probably a little bit greedy, does back off, or at least waiting for their teammates. But this is giving Emperor free time on the mid lane turret with Daydream, so they should be able to take that. Ambition just zoning out, looking for poke here in that middle avenue. Of course, he was spotted by Ward, so no one jumped into that trap. But the middle tier 2 goes down, and now they will all go home and finish tons of items like a Randuin's, Mikhail's, Phantom Dancer on top of a BF Sword and a pickaxe. And 3,000 gold waiting for LeBlanc.
Oh my.
Yep, just a death cap.
I mean, just comparing the items right here, the core items for Ambition well ahead of his lane opponent Gugar. Of course, not even the Manamune completed yet onto this Jace. He's got a lot of that armor penetration, but he'll hit that big power spike, of course, once that tier is fully stacked, but he has to be able to afford that item first. And this is a perfect time for CJ Blaze to go ahead and get this vision control and just do a Baron. Yeah,
they should just be able to do it just fine. OQ and Kane already in that bottom. Of course, OQ is shown, so no one even going to come check the Baron. I don't think Black Sword really cares to check the Baron right now, because that will probably just mean instant death from Ambition. Again, before it was Kane's Crescendos that could block that, but once Ambition gets stronger, you just need 3 skills, not even a full rotation to pick that kill up. So even Kane not quick enough, also probably doesn't want to use his Crescendo for just Ambition anymore because things are starting to heat up. So Blaze will peacefully take another tier 2 here in top lane with no opposition.
Yep, just keep on moving forward as well. There's really nothing at this point. 28 minutes into this game with this kind of gold lead, with this kind of scaling from the CJ Blaze composition that NaJin.
Oh, Cougar gets caught, but Ambition does get Crescendo. Kane finally finding that right target as Daydream kind of baits his teammate in for a fight. And Kane looking for a kill, but doesn't find an Emperor. And Lustboy with some good blocks on that culling. And so they actually just take out Ambition, and everyone on Black Sword somehow survives that mess of a fight. And Blaze will continue to still take this tower down, though, as Cougar tries to pressure down Flame. Doesn't have sadism anymore, but Emperor is at okay health. But Blaze not going to push their luck. They're just going to take the tower and back off. Of course, NaJin had gone back and healed up.
Now, Kane had a great Crescendo right there, and that's one of the reasons why you really don't want to dive turrets against Sona. Even if you are that far ahead, you can't really count out the burst that's going to be coming out of NaJin Sword's composition, just because they can hit you for a lot of AoE very quickly. So here we go, coming in, Ambition is going to get hit by that Crescendo.
Instant Crescendo.
And just really good focusing from NaJin Sword in order to take him out. Flame doing what he can, but it's knocked around a little bit from the side, and OQ nearly getting a kill or two more with the culling, but some good body blocking from Blaze will prevent that from actually happening.
Yeah, and Lustboy and Emperor also some quick trigger heals onto Daydream so he can escape as Kane flashed forward for a power chord kill. Didn't get it. So Ambition now with 1 death finally is probably angry and has that needlessly large rod to come back for more kills.
This 554 AP before 30 minutes. LeBlanc is pretty darn ridiculous right now. There's the Muramana completed for Cougar, though, so they're going to have a lot easier time defending. They need to take this threat pretty seriously. Trying to siege up this mid lane right now. There's an open inhib in top, but they're just trying to push the minion wave in.
Yeah, that Baron buff is there on 4 members still for CJ and Blaze, but they are playing a lot more calmly, as we can tell from that dive they just had, Ambition dying in that one. So they're kind of taking their time, playing a little bit more systematic once again. We've seen that happen earlier in this game. And if they do play, just step-by-step, Blaze still has that hefty lead, so they should be able to finish the game here.
It's going to go ahead and take out the other inhibitor. Bottom inhibitor has respawned.
Yeah, Ambition also takes a huge burst once again from that Jace. The Shock Blast doing quite a bit.
Yeah, it's really powered up now that the Muramana is complete, so pretty dangerous, and Kog'Maw has some fancy footwork to get away from that. Daydream's trying to zone out right there. You need to be very conscious of Kog'Maw, especially since Mundo is still split pushing down in the bottom lane.
Yeah, we have Daydream and Ambition for CJ and Blaze right now playing that zone role, and Emperor using the long range to take that last inhibitor turret standing, and they'll just go ahead and take the mid inhibitor first.
Yeah, the problem is that they need either HoJin outside the base to flank, or they need Kane's flash up in order to engage. So CJ Blaze notices this, and you can see they've got a pink ward right on the flank right there on both of their, so they can see if Evelyn's coming around from that top side.
Yep, Daydream was looking a little bit greedy, but Flame actually snipes a kill on Kane with a cleaver, and that should be the end of the game. Without the Crescendo there, it's kind of hard for Black Sword to even turn things around. HoJin tries to draw people into a dive, and he does succeed for the time being. Tidal Wave gets dodged as Daydream, now caught under tower, has to safeguard out. Ambition at half health needs to watch out as Emperor quietly takes down a Nexus turret. Ambition taken down to a 3rd health. Does help pick up a kill there as Flame takes a lot of that damage from Cougar. Ambition still surviving, and Emperor just sniping people left and right with that range. And CJ and Blaze just playing this brutal game of fountain fishing. But Cougar trying to turn things around, but he will get 3v1'd with a triple kill for Emperor. And that will be game over in favor of CJ Entus in this first set.
Well, Sword, I think they actually performed better than I expected.
Yeah, I would agree.
They did get confused by the lane swap early on, which is to be expected in this situation. But other than that, they put up a pretty good showing in the early and mid game before CJ Blaze. They did win with a little bit more expertise and scaling into the late game, but the initial sieges and timings for grouping were quite good from NaJin Sword, and they did put CJ Blaze off their game for a little bit at least.
Yeah, the decision making was there, which is always kind of a nice base to have for any new roster. So the coaches for NaJin should, be looking at that silver lining and take some joy in that. Just given the time, if you can brush that up, seems like Black Sword may be looking better in the future. Of course, today they had to use some subs. They also have just a new roster overall. And with that, CJ Entus Blaze takes that win. So CJ Entus leading 1-0 in today's matchup. If Frost beats Shield, that's a 2-0 game over for tonight, and they will meet again on Thursday for that second best of 3. So we will be taking a short break here to give a chance for both CJ Entus Frost and NaJin White Shield to enter the boost and take their places.
Yeah, solid game from CJ Blaze. Even if they were a little late to group and teleport, they didn't quite coordinate very well with Daydream and Ambition for when the port would be coming in, which led to some not great siege breaking from CJ Blaze. At least they're seeming a little bit more proactive about getting Flame there. They just have to make sure that they communicate a little bit better, get their ult at the same time, and react a bit faster.
Yep, so we'll be back with set number 2 between CJ Entus Frost and NaJin White Shield in a short bit.